divas, I've decided to restart my YouTube channel. I posted a couple videos on my private account, seeing what the kind of vibe is that people wanted me to talk about. A lot of people said vlogs, a lot of people just said yappy chatty videos, and I'm a yappy chatty girl, so I thought, why not just do that? Why not talk about things that I've been thinking about a lot recently and that often weigh on my mind and that are low-key really important topics. So for those of you who don't know, I have recently, in the last 2 weeks, moved to Manchester. This is my new flatmate, Corinne, isn't she Gorgelina? Okay, she's a homeowner. Not quite. This is rented. I'm gonna be honest, this is rented. But nonetheless, I am paying council tax, so I think that equates to something, because genuinely council tax is insane. But the thing I want to talk about today, and this has definitely become even more prevalent, I would say, since my move a couple of weeks ago, and the topic is being a girl with no work done in an environment of influencers and filler and cosmetic procedures, because that is low-key the world I'm in right now. I haven't been lucky enough to be invited to some amazing events in the past month with a lot of absolutely gorgeous influencer girlies. And for context, I'm 21. To be entirely transparent, when I was just turned 18, I got what's known as like a cosmetic rhinoplasty, not surgery. It's known as a non-surgical nose job. So I got a bit of filler popped in at the top of my nose here and then also on the tip of my nose. This has since dissolved. It goes away or migrates elsewhere basically about 9 months to a year and a half after getting it. So I haven't really had it since I was 19. I'm turning 22 next month, so it has been a while. And something I've noticed a lot really, and also just been feeling, being in these sort of spaces, is naturally a lot of people have work done, fair enough. This is also, I really do not want this video to be misconstrued. This is not a bashing. I cannot make this any clearer. I cannot preface this enough. I have before had something done. In no way am I critiquing anyone ever. Who am I in the position to be saying that? Like, genuinely, this is not that. It's more an observation and my personal feelings as something I've experienced. So a lot of the spaces I'm in at the moment with these gorgeous girlies, a lot of them do have work done and they're very open about it, which is something, by the way, I really applaud. Being open about it, I think, is the most important thing. Being in these spaces definitely does conjure up some feelings of perhaps not feeling pretty enough, not feeling good enough, not feeling like I fit in necessarily. And this is not just an in-person situation. This is also a constant of online, not only with fillers and cosmetic procedures, but filters as well. They do the exact same thing basically, just on an online level. This video was low-key spurred on by an email I actually got the other day. Hang on, let me get comfy before I tell y'all all about this. Out of the blue, I got an email from a company I'd never heard of, offering me any free procedure in Turkey in an exchange for content. Firstly, I think there's a moral position, a moral grey area, a moral dilemma in that of itself. But this really took me back. I was like, oh, so I'm really not pretty. So other people realize it. So other people can see that I don't look like the people I'm surrounded by and I need to get something done to fit in. When I first got the email, I was a bit like, shrug it off, lol, funny, whatever. It was offering like a boob job or like an actual like nose job, rhinoplasty, whatnot. And then I gave it some thought and I was like, shit, do I not fit in? Am I actually not pretty enough to be in this space? Although my entire brand image, whatever you want to call it, is not based off appearance. None of my content is really based off how pretty I am or how much worth is based in that. It's more like lifestyle, skitty, joking, acty, that sort of thing. And then getting this email was really, I think, bad timing for me in the space of sort of moving here and then being surrounded within these like influencer events where I'm already subconsciously aware that I'm not aesthetically looking like the girls that I'm with. But then that also made me think that there must be so many girls in the same position as me in an in-person basis and also an online basis of feeling like they're not pretty enough because they're competing against standards that most people are not born with. Some people can be absolutely blessed with the most juicy, voluptuous lips. Some people can be absolutely blessed with the smallest of little button noses. But then again, I have to remind myself I'm only saying that because that is what we acquire the beauty standard to be. We acquire the beauty standard to be a tiny nose, big luscious lips, thick voluminous hair. But when was that decided? And there's also a great issue that lies in that because a lot of these features are drawing from ethnic communities who are often ostracized and have been in the past for their looks and appearances, and caricatures have been made, depicting them as secondary to other races, yet society has chosen when and where they want their features to align. So there already lays issue in that, right? But I just think it's a really interesting topic of conversation, especially for young girls, especially just with social media being as crazy as it is. And this may sound hypocritical because I do social media and I love social media and I want to work in social media. But in saying that, I can recognize that there are humongous flaws and humongous issues and ginormous double standards within the industry. So I think that it is important that it is spoken about. And I also feel like sometimes it's really, really easy to walk into a room and immediately as a woman, it's already subconsciously hammered into you that your appearance is the most valuable asset you have. And then when you're walking into a room of people that you don't look like, it's really tricky and it's really overwhelming. And I'm gonna be so honest, it definitely has made me think, what do I need done? What do I need done and when can I book it in? Because it is also, the flip side of the coin is like, if you do have any issue with the way you've looked, if you've ever been bullied, you can literally get it fixed like that. Obviously there's money involved, but apart from the money side, all you have to do is book an appointment. And that problem that you have, that insecurity that you have, that issue that you've had your whole life can be literally erased within the injection of a needle. It can literally go away. I've always had an issue with my nose. Always thought I had a very prominent nose, always thought I had a very big nose. I was all the time, like my nose was made fun of in high school. And I remember being like, the first thing I'm gonna do when I turn 18 years old is get a nose job. That will be the first thing I do, unequivocally the first thing I do. I'm not even gonna blow out the candles on my cake because I will be in Turkey or in London getting my nose done. Obviously that did not happen because I'm scared. I'm far too scared. To be completely plainly honest, I don't have the money and I'm too scared. Maybe if I grew up rich and I had a trust fund, maybe I'd do it. I don't know. But I clearly did want that insecurity fixed. So as soon as I turned 18, I headed over to some non-surgical nose job place and I stupidly did absolutely no research because my only prerogative was making my nose look smaller. And I was genuinely so buzzing and so happy as soon as I saw the results. As soon as the results came after. And another thing about the filler element of it is immediate results. You don't have to wait for some horrific recovery in Turkey and travel back home like you would do a rhinoplasty or you would do a boob job or a BBL or whatnot. You see it immediately. It's hundreds, if not thousands of pounds less. What an average price for a nose job is about 10 grand, I think. For a non-surgical one, I think it cost me about £180, £200. That's 10% of the cost, that's absolutely nothing. And you see it immediately. But one thing I will say that I did notice no one else knew but me. Not even my mum. My mum, who birthed me and sees my face every single day, did not even notice. And I think that also proves that it is something in your head. It's entirely in your head. But in saying that, it can be so overwhelming. Because my issue with my nose and how I looked from the side of my side profile, especially from my right side, because I've broken my nose a couple of times in my childhood, is the only thing that plagued my mind, basically. And embarrassingly enough, it's still one of the only things I think about. I will only take photos from the left-hand side because I don't want people to see me from the right-hand side, which is ridiculous because everyone walking past me on the street, every single friend I have, every single family member is obviously seeing me from the right-hand side. I'm not about to do like a fucking 2015 Ariana Grande where like she doesn't want to show a dimple, so she like only goes like this and like hides this side of her face. Not about to be doing that because at the end of the day, I don't think it's that deep. But it also doesn't take away from the feeling that that is something that consumes you. And yeah, wording what I want to say, how I want to say it without coming across as rude or undermining to people who have chosen to get stuff done is really tricky because I'm also in that group of someone who has chosen to have something done. And I'm often, when I'm looking at the people on social media, seeing these girls that I wish I could look like, it's the first thing I think of. It's the first thing of what should I have done? When should I have it done? Like literally last night I was thinking, should I book in to get lip filler? Because I overline my lips so much that it will just make it easier for me. I'll save money on lip liners, to be honest. And it's something that I'm debating. And again, my main issue lays in the pain. Not whether I should get it done. I don't really have that moral dilemma of should I get this done, should I not, do I like the way I am naturally? If I was not so scared of the pain, I'd get it done like that. So I think that again speaks volumes on how normalized everything is in this society of getting stuff done, which again, I need to preface, is fine. It's fine. I'm literally sat here saying I want stuff done, but what I'm also saying is it's so tricky to compete where you can't compare, basically. And I think you also sometimes when seeing people who you think, my God, I wish I could look like you. My God, you are so unbelievably gorgeous. I think those people would also be the first to tell you, babe, these aren't my lips. Like, babe, this isn't my nose. These also aren't my boobs. Because they were probably at one point exactly like me, exactly like you watching this if you feel like this. They were probably thinking, God, I hate my nose. Someone made fun of me for that in high school. Let me just go and get it fixed. And the only difference between me and them is they did it. They went and got it fixed. So I think when you look at it like that, it does definitely put things into perspective a little bit more, but it still doesn't resolve the issue of not feeling like you fit in comparison. Because especially as well when you're in a room of people who've openly had work done, and don't get me wrong, they look amazing. They look amazing. It is very tricky not to feel like the ugly duckling in a way. And I feel like it's strange to say because I don't think I'm someone who's unattractive. I don't look in the mirror and hate what I see, like I really don't. It's only seeing these things online where I think, oh, I could definitely change that. Oh, maybe my lips would be a bit better if I just had 0.7 mils in there. And I honestly think that's why so many girls, and boys as well to be fair, around early 20s, 30s sort of age, have so much stuff done because they see it on other people, not necessarily because it was an insecurity. Because I think things like jaw filler and chin filler and things like that don't often stem from insecurities. I feel like in a way, nose jobs are a little bit of an exception. I know so many people who've had issues with their noses. I know so many people, me included, who've been made fun of for their nose, if it being big, whatnot, all of that. I think that's a slightly different entity. Same with boobs. Same with getting a boob job. I know so many girls in high school that were made up for having a flat chest, blah, 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 all of this ridiculous stuff by the way, 13-year-old boys who know nothing and would never say that now because hopefully some sort of frontal lobe has kicked in and they've realised that they can't just go around talking shit to people about their appearance because it's really none of their goddamn business and they don't look any better. I think those things aside, because those are definitely insecurities, but I think a lot of the things like I was saying matter to Botox, jaw filler, chin filler. Do those things stem from insecurity or do they come from seeing other people getting them done and liking the results? Are these things a sort of domino effect? If one person gets it done, posts about it online, a lot of other people see it and want to do it? I think that is probably the case for a lot of these things, because until sort of seeing Molly May, I remember in that era where she had loads of filler, which she's now come out with and said like, why the fuck did I do all that? Why did I do all that? I looked ridiculous. I had no idea that chin or jaw filler was a thing. I didn't know you could get anything filled. The only things I knew about till relatively recently, I'd say in the past 2 to 3 years, were nose job, boob job, BBL. And BBL is only because the Kardashians. I've never met anyone with a BBL. I don't think. I could stand corrected, but those things almost seem fed down to us from clinicians and from aesthetic surgeons and whatnot, because unless maybe you have, I don't know, a medical issue like a cleft lip where you need to get that reconstructive surgery, or grinding in your teeth with massive Botox, or sort of an inverted jaw where it's stopping you from eating, and like medical issues like that, those things would have never crossed my mind. But then again, am I saying that because I don't personally have an issue with my own jaw or my own chin? Maybe someone who grew up being made fun of because they had a pointy outy chin and were called a witch or something, or they had a really sticky inny chin and people said they had a double chin. Is that an insecurity of theirs? I don't know. I think it's so subjective and it's so tricky as well. Until you are in the brain of someone else, you really don't know. But it's also so interesting as well thinking about these individual cases, because that's also not what you think about when you see someone who is the ideal beauty standard walk into a room and their lips look perfectly juicy and their nose looks tiny and their skin looks bright and they have high cheekbones and a defined jaw. You don't think about that when you see them. You think, my God, I wish I could look like you. But at some point, they are probably thinking, my lips are too small. I need to get this sorted. My skin is so bad. I have a double chin when I look down. So I think it's also really sort of insightful in a way, looking into a deeper perspective of what people's initial insecurities were and initial motives were for getting these things done. But nonetheless, it doesn't make you feel different when you're constantly at view to that and constantly spectating people with the assets and the features that you're subconsciously fed that you need to be beautiful or to be looked at as worthy, if you will. But yeah, this was low-key my food of thought for the day. Something that I've just been thinking about quite a lot recently, and I thought it would be good to sort of just say it out loud and have a little talk through of my thought process, see if anyone else agrees. I'd honestly be really interested, because I feel like this is probably quite a common thought. As of right now, obviously, Instagram, TikTok, everything. And I think mine also comes from as well, moving from an incredibly small town. I don't think I know anyone with any filler. I think I was the only person I knew that got like my non-surgical nose job or like a bit of filler in the tip of my nose when I was like 18. I think I knew a couple of girls who got lip filler. That was it. It really isn't a thing, or wasn't, like when I was living at home. But obviously moving to a different city, I've now lived in Manchester and lived in Liverpool, it is a lot more common here. And I see loads of girls, even just walking down the street, obviously you can tell that they've had their lips done or they've had their boobs done, whatnot, that sort of thing. And I feel like I'm a lot more exposed to it now, whereas before it was simply like an online thing. It was simply something that I only really saw when I opened Instagram or TikTok. But sometimes I think it was filtered. Sometimes I wouldn't think that it was filler. And I also think that's another damaging thing when people don't say. And I know that you shouldn't be forced to say what you've had if you don't want to. It really is your prerogative. You don't have to say I've had this done. But I think if you are a public figure, I think it's important. I think it helps especially if you know you have an impressionable young female audience who are looking up to you as sort of a beauty standard. I think it's really important. Ari Krista does it well on TikTok. She makes videos talking about how, like, people always comment how pretty she is, how beautiful she is, how much they want to look like her, and she goes, girl, I don't even look like me. This is what I looked like when I was 18, and this is what I look like at 25. Could be a different person. She's had so much done, and that's so fine. This is the thing again, I don't have an issue. I'm literally contemplating it myself. But I just think transparency is one of the most important things. But yeah, that's my food for thought for today.